mutual aid organizations. I want to share a story with the dads of Reddit that may give a glimpse of what is happening to my neighbors. A few days ago, I received a call from a friend. She told me that ICE was outside her neighbor's house. My friend was scared. She is in the US on a green card, but many green card holders are being detained for long periods of time, and some are being removed to Texas. She can't afford to be away from her job or her kids for any amount of time, so the thought of potentially extended detention filled her with dread. Her hands literally shake every time ICE is near her home or she hears a whistle. Again, my friend is here legally. She asked me to come watch her house until ICE left, which I did. ICE was leaving as I got there. She then told me that her neighbor did not feel safe coming home and her kids were home alone. The neighbor's oldest child was 12, and they were only supposed to be home alone for a few minutes while they waited for their mom to get home. The mom also has a green card, which I know because later the mom asked me to find some information to send to her immigration lawyer. I got in contact with the mom. She was safe and with people who were sheltering her, but she was scared for her kids. I ended up going in to sit with her kids until she got home. I ask you to imagine being so scared to return to your home that you would allow a man you have never met to sit with your 2, 7, and 12-year-old children. Because she did. She did because her neighbor trusted me and none of her neighbors could safely come outside. The oldest child let me in, and I went up to their apartment. When I entered, I found the kids hiding in an interior hallway of a fully dark apartment. They were scared to let me turn the lights on because La Migra, ICE, might be outside. ICE had been banging on the front door of their building 10 minutes ago, so they weren't being unreasonable. And they were right. La Migra was loitering in the area. ICE was also, unfortunately, on the block where the mother was sheltering. It took an hour of me watching out the window before they would let me turn a light on in the dining room at the back of the apartment. I spent a total of 4.5 hours with those kids. The kids were incredible. The little ones were understandably confused about why this big white guy was in their house, and they wanted to show me all their things. The older child was quiet and scared. After a few hours, the older child started talking to me. They shared their experiences with me, and I am going to fail to adequately share them with you. They go to a public school, but are now schooling from home. On their last day in school, their classes were virtually empty. No one in their neighborhood feels like sending their kids to school anymore. They shared that almost everyone they know has had a parent, uncle, aunt, or cousin arrested by ICE. Most of them were released several days later without charges. They showed me videos of ICE agents arresting their friend's father and another man in a store, of ICE agents arresting another friend's uncle on a construction site, of ICE agents pulling a friend's cousin out of his work truck. They had dozens of videos of people they know being arrested for nothing more than being brown. Again, most of the people arrested were held for a few days and released without charges. But that is a few days away from their families, a few days of their spouses not knowing where they are, a few days of not making money to buy groceries or pay rent, a few days of fear. One of the videos I saw was peaceful. That's not the right word, but it works. Also, really all of them were. The man went with ICE with no fuss. They showed me a picture of him after he was released a few days later. He was dirty, his clothes were torn, and it looked like he had been beaten up. They told me ICE was watching their church. They can't go to church in person anymore and are instead doing their confirmation classes and attending church services online. They and their siblings haven't been outside in 2 weeks. They shared with me that this is the norm among their friends. Middle schoolers should be having fun and should be being socially awkward together. Instead, they are hiding in dark apartments, listening to shouting, sirens, and whistles, wondering who is being taken and if they will be back. Wondering if their mom is going to get home from work safely. Wondering if their friends are going to disappear. They also shared they believe in the USA and that they don't think this situation will last. The 12-year-old, in spite of all that happened to them, was still positive about how things were going to turn out. They were amazing. We did reunite the children with their mother, but it took hours until ice cleared out enough for us to do it safely. We also organized some legal services for the family, which is why I was in their immigration paperwork. Dads of Reddit, my heart has never hurt as much as it did when I got home from that apartment. I can't think of those kids without tearing up, and the worst part is, I know it isn't going to get better anytime soon. There are thousands of families and tens of thousands of kids like those three. Kids whose parents did everything right, but who still live with the constant fear that they or their parents are going to disappear. They are suffering, and they will carry this trauma for the rest of their lives. Please pay attention to what is happening here.